and welcome to Red Gaming Tech for your daily dose of today's latest gaming news with myself, Amata. Today I'm bringing you something a little bit different concerning the PlayStation 4 and the Eye camera, as the Sony Computer Entertainment President and Group CEO Andrew House has discussed Sony's decision and why they left it out of the launch console box. Obviously, you can buy bundles with the Eye included, but as standard, it will not be in the box, as we've known for some time. Now, this was when he was doing an interview with Business Spectator, and as I said, he discussed Sony's decision as to why they left the PS4i out of the console box in order to achieve the lowest possible price. Now, despite this decision, Microsoft has of course stuck to its guns in its decision to include the Kinect in every Xbox One, which of course has resulted in a rather staggering difference in price, because we have a price tag of $499 or £429 for the Xbox One, or $399 or £349 for the PS4. Now, let's not get into the topic of which one is better. We're just talking about the difference in price, and of course that is purely coming from the decision for Sony not to include the Eye, and maybe a few other little nitpicky reasons about their hardware and stuff like that as well. But the main contributor, at least in my opinion, is the lack of the Eye in the standard console box. And House is arguing that Sony's strategy does not right by the vast majority of its early adopters. So basically he says, quote, "Certainly for the earlier part of the life cycle, the vast majority of the audience that we speak to tells us that their primary wish is for the full controller interface, and there's not necessarily a huge emphasis being placed on camera interaction." And he does go on to say that Sony may in future adjust messaging for the camera, suggesting that a possible shift to camera bundles with every PS4 down the line. So it means that they may do future bundles with the camera and possibly even keep the bundles without the camera and just have both on sale at the same time, or possibly even switch over fully to the PlayStation Eye. But I don't see them doing that particular choice, that being the choice to have it with every single console past the first launch period and then basically bundle it with every console past that period. I personally don't think they're going to do that. They're just going to actually ship it as a slightly more premium pack with the PS4, at least in my opinion. Of course, this is purely speculation. What's rather interesting, though, is that apparently efforts were made to include the camera at the $399 price mark, but pressure from the higher-ups in Sony Computer Entertainment basically forbade them from making too much of a loss on the PlayStation 4 hardware. At the moment, Sony is rumoured to be losing about $60 on each PlayStation 4 sale, and of course, as I've discussed previously in another video quite some time ago, they are planning to make this back via selling peripherals, software and services. So they did try to bundle it at the same price, but of course that would have been too much of a loss for them to handle. Now, of course, the main reason that they wanted to keep it at $399 is that it makes it $200 cheaper than the PlayStation 3 at launch, which I think is a fairly smart decision because the main reason that I actually went from Sony to Microsoft back in the previous generation is because of the price. At the time, I was a student, didn't have a lot of money, and I really wanted a PS3, but I just couldn't afford it. So I went with the Xbox 360 because, well, it still let me play the games that I wanted to play, but I could save quite a bit of cash doing it. And even then, I didn't get it on launch. I waited for a price drop to actually happen a few months down the line. But even then, the PlayStation 3 was too expensive for a poor soul such as myself at the time. And I think that a lot of people perhaps made that similar decision to mine at the time. And obviously the PS3 did have a rather difficult start, not only because of the price tag but because of the cell processor, as we discussed previously, and Sony has of course corrected on both of those decisions, with the PS4 being cheaper and of course being more easy to develop for than the PlayStation 3 ever was with its PC-like architecture. So, rather interesting to say the least. I think that the price is definitely going to be a big factor. Now, obviously, loyalists will still go with what they want. People are going to go with the best console, or their favourite console to be more precise, regardless of how much it is. As long as they can afford it, they will go for the one that they want, which is fine, you know. whatever platform you choose is entirely up to you. But I think that for people such as myself, back how I was when I was in university, and for example, families who perhaps might be buying it for their children for Christmas or whatever, they're going to be going for the cheaper option. If their child says, "Oh, I want one of the next consoles," and they'll, I want an Xbox One. No, I'll get you a PS4. It's cheaper, and then they will because, well, it saves them $100. I don't think you can really blame people on that. So I think the price difference is going to be a factor in the upcoming next generation, but how much of a factor that's actually going to be, well, I think that just depends on everything at the time, whether or not Microsoft actually crumbles and releases a connectless bundle. I don't know. Personally, I don't see them doing that. They have backtracked a lot with some of the stuff on the Xbox One, like the DRM and the fact that the Kinect had to be always plugged in and stuff like that. I don't see them backing off on the Kinect bundle because they have very much made it a core part of the console with the whole swipe feature and things like that. So I don't think we're ever going to see a Kinect bundle at launch, a Kinectless bundle, sorry, but we may see one further down the line. We'll have to see. It'd be an interesting next generation console war, quote unquote, to say the least. I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on the back and forth between the two companies as we progress into the next generation. Anyway, that is me done for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.